Hi everybody, so today we're going to be talking about Clostridium botulinum. So essentially, Clostridium botulinum is a large gram-positive spore-forming rod-shaped anaerobic bacterium. So these bacterium form spores when in contact with oxygen deep within soil, um, sediments of lakes, ponds, and decaying vegetation. These spores produce a botulinum toxin that is a very potent toxin and is also similar to the tetanus toxin. There are three forms of botulism, including foodborne. However, the most common, there is also infantile and intraintestinal or wound, which we'll talk about next. So all Clostridia produce neurotoxins able to cause paralysis symptomatic of botulism. There are four distinct phenotypic groups recognized within this taxon. So, Clostridium botulism blocks the passage of nerve stimuli at nerve endings and causes bilateral neuromuscular weakness or paralysis of cranial nerve functions, including diplopia, dyssympathis, and dysphagia. So there are three types of botulism as expressed: food poisoning, infantile and intraintestinal or wound botulism. All of these forms present themselves with respiratory failure, gastrointestinal effects, which includes diarrhea and may proceed with the development of neuromuscular paralysis, and also constipation is common. Droopy eyelids, dry mouth, and high blood pressure while standing are also considered symptoms. However, they are more generalized, and covalence may take months. So, in 2017 and 18, there was a case study done in British Columbia with two infants. Now, with infantile botulism, it is a very common condition. Very rare. It's only a rare condition in children under 1 year. It is caused by the ingestion of Clostridium botulinum spores, and it complicates respiratory and recurrent atelectasis and the pneumothorax. So two infants were admitted to the same pediatric center approximately 2 months apart. Both presented with constipation and poor oral intake, followed by a diminishing strength and flaccid paralysis with respiratory complications. Both were treated with botulism immune globulin or baby big. The diagnosis was essentially a little more challenging in this case because botulinum in babies is a very rare already, but in Canada it was almost unheard of. And with the large number of considerable factors in this case, it made it just a little more challenging to diagnose. However, both babies ultimately recovered fully. So to go into a little bit more depth, Clostridium botulinum spores are quite widespread throughout the world, so you can find them anywhere and everywhere. They reside in soil, freshwater, and saltwater mud. However, human botulism is quite rare. These spores are very resilient and they can survive up to 2 hours at 100 Celsius. These spores also elaborate as explained a very potent toxin and is one of the most potent known to man. There are up to 8 toxins, which include A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. They are phylogenetically and very heterogeneous species. And the vast majority of human botulism is caused by toxins A, B, and E. So, how do you manage botulism? So with foodborne, Historically, foods most often implicated in the transmission of botulism have been low-acid, home-canned foods, which are mostly found in veggies, potatoes, and fish. With infantile botulism, unlike foodborne, it is mostly a combo of infection or intoxication, including the ingestion of clostridium botulinum within itself. Wound botulism involve intravenous drug use and needle puncture sites that become infected with multiple organisms, including clostridium botulinum. So when a wound is left open or needle punctures are also left open, it leaves it vulnerable to these spores. Now, with wound botulism, samples must be taken and sent to a reference lab to properly diagnose botulism. Appropriate samples are taken from blood, gastric contents, including vomit or stool or enema. Moreover, botulinum neurotoxins bind irreversibly to presynaptic end plates and irreparably impair these structures in axon. These structures. Axons possess remarkable regenerative capability by which they can sprout new end plates if patients successfully go through acute botulism crisis. So treatment includes ventilatory support, protection support, and control of the airway by intubation and mechanical ventilation. Equine-derived antitoxin for food and wound botulism in adults, human botulism immunoglobulin, or baby pig for infants. Prognosis has also improved greatly over the past 50 years. The case fatality rate for foodborne botulism has decreased from the 50 to 70% range to the 5 to 20% range seen today. 2,280 infant botulism and wound botulism cases currently have a case fatality rate of approximately 15% and 1% respectively. 7,981, it should be stressed that survival of an episode of botulism provides essentially no immunity and therefore offers no protection after recovering. So if you have had botulism before, you are left with the same chances of getting it after. So thank you for listening, and here's the works cited. Bye.